Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Friday Live. I am Tracy Reddy, your soul care for single Black women expert, your dating consultant for single Black women. Everything that your single Black women need, I can help you, girl. Come on and see me at tracyreddy.com. And before we get started today, just want to welcome everybody here. I have some amazing guests that I'm really excited to tell you guys about. So stay tuned. I'll be introducing them in a second. But before we get into all of that, I want to invite you to subscribe. If you have not subscribed to the Soul Care for Single Black Women YouTube page, by all means do so. If you have not liked and followed and connected with the Soul Care for Single Black Women Facebook page, do that as well. I'm really bad at asking y'all to do that. I forget about that. I'm like, oh, they'll like it if they want to. They'll subscribe. But really, I should ask. So I'm asking, I'm inviting you to come into the family and join us on the Soul Care for Single Black Women page. So, with that being said, I want to tell y'all a little bit about why we're doing this. So, if you watch the past 3 weeks, you know I've had three different sets of guests on, and we have discussed the idea of love versus respect. And the thing that is really prevalent is that most of the people have been choosing that if they had to choose one and couldn't have the other, which would they choose, love or respect? Most people and all of my guests who I've had on have been saying respect. And so, I mean, that's fine. That's fine. And I get their point. We had great discussions about that. The first week, I spoke with Layla Lynn from Layla Lynn TV on YouTube. Y'all are familiar with her. She was on and we talked about it basically from a woman's perspective. But she also chose respect. Then the next week, I had author Charles Duke on, and he talked about it from a man's perspective. And he also, of course, chose respect. And then last week, I had two fellow therapists on, and they talked about it, and they personally chose respect. But then we had a great conversation about, the differences of the two and how that shows up in our different types of relationships and all that. And so, I was like, okay, well, and I've always been on all the episodes, I've been the lone wolf. I've been by myself in saying that I would choose love over respect. And when I posed the question in different groups, different communities that I'm a part of, I got a very small percentage of people who said they would choose love as well. So I said, I don't think we've given love enough attention, on this series. So I said, I'm gonna do a bonus episode and I'm gonna try to gather together a panel of people who said they would choose love over respect. And that's what we have today. So my first guest is she's a wife of 8 years, a mom to three amazing boys, ages 9, 7, and 3. She's a full-time government civilian in the data management field. She currently resides, works, goes to school, and attends church in Southern Maryland. She's a huge foodie, and she loves crafting. And she's a psych graduate, so she really loves, just like myself, exploring human behavior. And that is none other than Miss Monique Spinner. Welcome, Monique.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we have a panel today, y'all. So my next guest, she is a creative serial entrepreneur, a woman of faith, working to use the many talents God has given her for his glory. Her passion is helping everyday people leverage e-commerce to build sustainable businesses. Her current venture is Global Girl Apothecary. I almost couldn't say that. A startup body care brand harnessing botanical ingredients from around the globe and celebrating the places and people who grow them. So my next guest is my good dear friend Tanya Morris. Let's get her up. Hold on. There's Tanya. Hi, Tanya.
Hello, hello,
Thank you
hello,
for coming.
everyone. Hello.
All right, and then my next guest is Miss. Oh, I won't tell you yet. She is a journalist, an author. She has 25 years in the healthcare insurance industry and 15 years in the journalism industry. I met her through the amazing Christy Taylor, and I was also a guest on her show. She's the creator and host of the Francine Walker Show. She is quite a treat, and she's very used to being in these type of discussions and things. So my next guest is Francine Walker.
Hey
Welcome,
guys.
Francine.
Hello.
A round of applause to everybody. All right, you guys. So, as I was saying, we're having this talk because each one of you were in the minority with me in choosing, love to be your preferred, what you would prefer if you had to only have one. But before we get to that conversation, I want to talk about. Let's see who we have here in the comments. Okay, all right. Yeah, I want to have. Hey, Tracy. Let me see. Let me see if I can put her up there. I will post it in just a second. Okay, so I want to talk about do our segment that we call On the Wall. So basically, On the Wall is a shout out to the how this Soul Care for Single Black Women Friday Live thing started. I was just going through my Soul Care for Single Black Women page and commenting on things on the wall. So we've kind of changed the format a bit, and we're now doing it in this way where we're just taking one thing that the guests see on the wall, on the Soul Care for Single Black Women Facebook wall that interests them. So let's see, we will start with Tanya. Tanya chose this post that showed up on the wall back in, I think, a couple weeks ago. Let's see, here it is. And it says, bridal showers are cool and all, but let's make single showers a thing. Like, congratulations, you're strong and independent and don't need a man. Here's a bunch of gifts and cake because we're proud. All right. Now, the interesting part about this one showing up, or this being the one that she picked, I posted this in several places, and one of the feedback that I actually got from it was folks was like, no, we don't want that. And this was a group of single ladies, or primarily single ladies. But I totally get it. And I think hey, the more cake, the merrier, right? So, Tanya, what is the motivation behind choosing this particular meme?
So my first thought was, is that what we doing in 2021? Is that really what we doing? I feel like that is doing too much. Doing too much. But I feel like what has happened in the African American women community, that when I see the word strong and independent, that's an automatic red flag to me, because I have observed something. Typically, it's like, because Black women have not had the freedom to say, I really, really, really want a man. I really, really want to be married. And so because we're not emotionally free to say that in our community, you get stuff like this. And I'll be like, my thought is, girl, please. In other words, just say, you know what, I really, really want a man, but I don't have one. Let's throw a party for that. I feel like that's a big cover up from what the heart is really feeling. So I was like, yeah.
Well, you know what? I can see that. I can definitely see that. And that was kind of the sentiment of the ladies who were responding when I posted it in other places. They were like, nah, we don't want this. We don't. Yeah. Can't we just have birthday parties, or we just have a party, period? Why does it have to be, a celebration?
Why does the man even have to come into it
in the equation?
That's a telling thing right there. And I see it in a lot of our behaviors. I see it in the travel community and they're beginning to say that, you know what, I haven't had any luck in the US, so I'm going to try my luck in Mexico. I'm going to try my luck in South Korea or Malaysia or Thailand. I see that now, that the conversations are evolving toward that. Hey, anywhere, in other words, where are Black women most appreciated type thing. Yeah. And I feel like all of that it's the conversation, so that we're not having the other conversation that we really need to be having to be mentally and emotionally okay.
I think that is spot on. I think that I can totally identify when I'm even talking to ladies in different groups and even on it live in person, on the phone, on chats. It is a huge, almost like embarrassing to say. It's like, don't tell nobody, but I want to get married. And
Yeah,
it's,
right.
girl, what? I mean, why is this a point of shame?
Yeah,
Why is this something that you can't say publicly? And the independent thing always gets me. I've never said that. That's never been my mantra. That's never been my desire to be. I'm so strong and independent. Have I taken care of myself for many years before I got married? Yeah. Have I paid all my own bills? Yeah, but it wasn't. Even though
it's like you don't have
married,
to
I
say
still
it.
didn't have that mantra.
Yeah,
Even though at one point in life I was not sold on the marriage thing, I still didn't have. I'm strong. I woman. I take. I'm like, yeah, but that's just me.
But you know what? Usually, something like that, it comes from. We have to identify the source, and the source a lot of times is probably a man that has shamed her. Oh, you just want to be married. You just want a relationship, And so it's like, and depending on how much you valued what that person said, you internalized that and said, maybe I shouldn't want that. Right. So because I've heard that, like, when I see strong, do not call me strong. I am going to be the damsel in distress.
Baby, all day, every day.
If I can't do it, then I'm calling. If I can't get somebody, TaskRabbit, because it's like but I think women, Black women specifically, are shamed. We're shamed for even the way we date, to find someone. Because it's like, well, shoot, you can turn the shower into a party with the men, everybody bring a friend.
Okay. And let's all meet up, see who we working with.
We can make this creative and do this every weekend, as Puffy would say. So right. I think sometimes we take on the collective, where men are less, if they downplay it, then there's no pressure put on them.
That too. That's a good point.
If they downplay marriage, then women won't bring it up. No, you just around the wrong man.
You bring up such a good point. There was a period of time, and Monique, I want to hear from you too. There was a period of time that I actually didn't even want to entertain anybody, didn't want to talk to anybody, because I had gone out with this guy. I think it was somebody that a friend we had like a blind date type of thing. And he left his wallet at home. Well, I wasn't falling for it. I'm like, well, we finna go get it then. So there was that on that. But after that, I was on edge about going out at all. And it was like, am I expected to pay? I've always been told I ain't supposed to pay, and et cetera, et cetera. And I'm not necessarily talking about that topic. I'm just saying how guys can, or people can, society can shift things to make you feel ashamed. Like you're saying, Francine, I'm speaking to your point. Shifting to make us feel ashamed of, wanting to just be treated like ladies, or wanting to, or expecting the things that have been, taught and passed down through the years. Even the stuff that is healthy. I know some things we need to change, but some of the things that are healthy or not even harmful, we're being shamed in that too. So I really appreciate you bringing that up. Monique, what's your thoughts on this?
Well, I see it from both sides, definitely. For me, my single friends, I've always been like, go girl, like enjoy being single. I got married when I was, how old was I? Like 28 or something like that. So we were engaged for a while. We've been together forever. And not that I miss it or that I wish that, I was single or anything like that. I love my husband, but
you can see the value.
See the value a little bit. I share Tanya's opinion. Like, really, do we have to have a party for, something? So, just have a party. Have a, little soiree, get together with, guys and girls or something like that. Not necessarily the strong, independent Black woman party. But to a certain extent, I am somewhat independent. I do like to do my own thing to a certain extent, from my husband, and still have my independence from him, because I don't want to be so reliant on him. But I do still expect him to be chivalrous and, do some of the things, pay some of the bills. I pay some of the bills, you pay some of the bills, that type of thing. And, take me out and hold my door and all that type of stuff too. So I don't think there's any shame, either way, but in the same sense, it's like, just have a party. You don't have
to have a party. I 100% agree. And that speaks to, we're going to go over here to the comments and see what the ladies are saying. We've got quite a few here with us. There's Tracy. Hey, girl. Hey. There's Gayon. Hey, girl. Hey. Let's see who else we had on here. Yolanda. Hey, girl. Tanya's here. Tanya McAdoo from last week. So I'm going to share some of their comments that are relevant to what we're talking about. And Gayon says, I think the concept of throwing a shower doesn't work semantically for me, but I've often observed that socially there is nothing that celebrates single women as they cross personal thresholds. Listen, that's why I always said I can agree to something like having a celebration, whether that's a housewoman, whether that's a, hey girl, you got that job, you started that business. I think no matter our state, married, single, celebrate each other, but it doesn't have to be juxtaposed to, and men suck, or you're doing it without a man, so go girl. Like Tanya said, why even bring the man into the conversation? You don't even have to be in the conversation like that. So thank you for bringing that up. And let's see, she also says, I do agree that single women throwing more parties to celebrate just makes sense. I love the idea. I used to love entertaining. Tanya, I used to stay having something. Y'all used to stay in a cute little place downtown Memphis, and I just used to always have something. But now I'm in this cute little place in Dallas, so I ain't worked the crowd here yet. But anyway, let's see. And then she also said, 100% agree. Society can make us feel like wanting to be married is shameful. And then Tanya McAdoo, she's a therapist that was on last week. She says, I really dislike when people say, be strong. Be strong. Being strong is overrated. Girl, what you saying? What you said? Who are we being strong for? Being strong means don't feel your emotions, suck it up. It's a new day. Girl, you said that. It is a new day. We are past these old tropes of things. I really love this generation now. They're like questioning everything. They're questioning everything. Some things I'm like, y'all leave that alone. But some things like this, strong, independent, I'm like, yeah, let's give that up. I've never been on that bandwagon. And she also says they are telling us to say sorry and suck it up. Yeah. So yeah, you guys, anybody else have any final thoughts on this whole idea of
I did.
Throwing single showers? Go ahead.
Well, one thing, the thought of, we kind of spoke a little bit about the drivers. Francine talked about the drivers behind it, and she specifically spoke to, men basically making you feel that way. But I have another kind of thought behind that. And, if we know the odds in our African-American community, how many of us were raised by single moms? I wonder how much of this is coming from the aunties, the moms. In other words,
don't put your stock in that. Yeah.
It's like, how dare you think you're going to have a happy marriage when going back generations? We all would have liked to have a happy marriage. How dare you sit up and talk about you want to be married and you're going to be married and all this stuff. And I couldn't do it. Your aunts couldn't do it. None of your cousins could do it. Your grandmothers. How dare you? You better suck it up, get a job, and take care of yourself. So
that is a great point. It's very multi-layered where this thing originates. It's a whole bunch of pieces that come together. Why someone will come to this conclusion and post something like this. Anybody have any other additional final thoughts on that one?
I don't think she really wants a party. She doesn't want a party. She doesn't want a single shower. She's probably tired of being the bridesmaid.
You can't say that.
You know how they say always bridesmaid but never a bride. It's like she doesn't really want a shower. I mean, don't get me wrong. The what Tanya and Gail were saying as far as that's we should have those single threshold celebrations. But in this particular case, I think she's not, you know, nobody really, like we talk about the strong trope. It's like, throw that out, because ain't nobody, we're not muling, we're not pack muling, we're not doing it. Not in 2021. But I really think that sometimes we're saying something, but that's not what we mean. You know, it's like she wants a shower. It's good. It's good to be, you know, it's good to plan and get in that space. So yeah, but I like what Tanya said. It's like, yeah, you have the women. So I guess collectively in the Black community, marriage, and I say in the Black community because I saw something where white women are taught to get married in their 20s, and Black women are taught to go get your education and taught to get married later. Yeah. So it's, you know, it's a whole lot of different, obviously, economic issues and circumstances that are affecting us. But we need to say, you know, I mean, I'm like, girl, I have a wedding in August. I need a date before then so that I can be on, you know, so that, or, you know, let me make sure I'm cute so that I go to the wedding, I can meet somebody at the wedding, you know, so either way. But it's like, we need to be open and honest. It's like, yeah, you want to be a we and not a me. It's good to be a me.
Okay. It's okay.
Right. You know?
Yeah.
We need
Gayon
to
says true. We want to be wives, mothers, and grandmothers. Absolutely. Yeah. And ladies, there's nothing, single ladies, there's nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Like Tanya said, just because you haven't seen it, don't mean it can't happen. In my family, I have not had, there have been a rash of people who've not gotten married. Then there have been a rash of like really not healthy marriages, or marriages that have just been, you know, chaotic in some senses. And but still, I mean, once it was clear to me that my husband was my husband, and we, you know, we did our thing, I'm like, I don't have to be what they had. One of the generational patterns or curses that I want to break is to be that couple that the family can look at and say, the younger people in our family can say, you know what, we may not have had a model, but we got one looking at them. And that's what me and my husband both endeavor to do in both our families, to just be that couple where you know, we can be a role model to somebody, and maybe start a trend of, you know, folks just opening up and saying, you know what, I do want to get married, you know, and not having to be ashamed of it. Let's see. What else do we have over in the comments? She says, Gayon says, not single with the single showers. Girl, you had to break that one down for me some more. We had somebody else to come in. That's Felicia with Gold Digger Diaries and Real Conversations for a Single, Real Conversations about Relationships. That's her platform, boasting over 18,000 folks. She's been on the show before too. Thank you for tuning in, Felicia. And let's see, who else do we have here? Oh, Gayon says, to me, the nuance to the comment about single showers, again, I don't agree with it per se, is having a community that will celebrate with you. Yes. In that state of singleness, yes, have a community, have a tribe, have some people around that y'all are high-fiving and encouraging one another. And I think that's even once you get married. You know, not just a single thing. Have your tribe even when you're married, you know?
Yeah. And you know, that brings up something else. It kind of, that leads into the whole women and women friend relationships. And I've seen a lot of posts because I'm in a lot of travel groups in the travel community of people talking about the dysfunction going on in their women to women relationships. Or people saying, I want to do this, but I don't have anyone to do it with. And these are coming from, you know, 27, 30-year-old younger people. There's no sense of women community there. And I look, because I have, you know, I have a group of friends who, one of them I've known since the 7th grade, the others I've known since college. We've been traveling together for over 20 years. and we've been friends that long. And so I'm seeing there's some dynamic going on where those types of relationships, we're having trouble forming male-female relationships. Now it looks like we're having trouble with female-female relationships. And so the mental thing, when you're really kind of out there on an island with that thing. The other quick thing I wanted to think about, I was thinking about my own family, and we talk about, the impact of, the kind of demotion of marriage in a lot of our upbringings and our cultures. And I also thought about changes of expectations. When you talk about the Caucasian community and African American community, I do believe that in the Caucasian community, you grow up, your parents, your grandparents, everybody around you, including yourself, you have an expectation that you're going to get married before you're 30. And so if you don't, it then kind of becomes a problem. But on our community, I know for our side, it's not that we there was never a express expectation that would happen. We were expected to go to college. We were expected to,
and that relationship piece was optional.
Yeah, and be able to buy our own homes. In other words, we have met all those expectations. But none of that generation is married. Yeah, none of that next generation. So I wonder how much does this expectation become kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy? Like I said, it's not that no one ever said, you're not going to get married, or you probably not going to get married. That was never.
It's just kind of a.
Yeah, and my family's different because, like I tell people, my grandfather died before I was born, and my grandmother. Well, by the time I was born, you had my grandmother who had 3 daughters. 2 of those daughters had 2 daughters each. I have no male uncles. I have no male first cousins. So I grew up in a all-woman family. And so the idea of having to say you're strong and independent, that's like, you don't have to say that. You just do what you need to, That's all I ever saw. It was just never a thing. And so I do think, I thought about that the other day. Is there a change in expectation for little Black girls? That's kind of this subliminal thing that's leading
that's never
to some
spoken, but it's kind of understood.
Yeah, some behaviors and ways of thinking and patterns that, it's not an intentional thing, but that's just what's happened, because we just didn't focus on that.
A part of me thinks that you're absolutely right there. It's not taught, it's not necessarily spoken, it's just kind of experienced, it's caught. It's not taught, it's caught. And if mama didn't have anybody, and you saw how she had to go and do, you go do that too, and it's kind of modeled and then copied. That being said, I'm really happy to see so many millennial couples that are coming together, and also they have come from families who have been from married couples. So it's not a total loss, and it's not all that way. I do think it still happens, and I think it's very much a part of our society. And like we can even say it right here, right now, that there are even represent. I'm not sure what everybody's family is like, family background here is like, which we're moving into that next. But I'm not sure what everybody's family background is like. But I can see, having been in this space and talking to so many people and studying, humans and families and all that, it's starting to shift for us. But I mean, I would love to see it shift quicker, which is why I do what I do to try to bring more people to that point, despite what their background is. Gayon said, Tanya, you talking real good, child. The expectations culturally are vastly different. They absolutely are. When we did me and my husband did a premarital counseling thing, and we went to this church was doing it was like 25 couples or something. It was us and maybe one other Black couple in there, and I think one mixed couple where one was Black, one was white. Everybody else was white, and I think that is very representative of what Tanya is saying. It is kind of woven into their culture and expectations. I imagine they don't even speak it necessarily. Well, yes, they do, because they still get on their guys about, hey, when you gonna find somebody, when you gonna settle down. I don't know that our grandmas and mamas and aunties and cousins and uncles and stuff do that to our guys. But then we'll ask us when we gonna settle down. So I
Oh my
digress.
gosh.
Look, we can talk about this all day. We can come back to it, but I don't want to lose Monique's on the wall post. She said,
Goes right in there.
"What? Yeah, it fits right in. Going into what we're talking about. What did love look like growing up in your house?" This was posted. I think earlier this week. Well, yeah, April 26th. It was posted April 26th on the Soul Care for Single Black Women page. Again, if you're not following that page, please go do so. And this was asked by a page called Millennial Mary. I think they're on Instagram. And I answered the question in this way. For me, love in my house, this is gonna sound funny, but it looked like cooking. It looked like cooking to me. Everybody in my house might even have a different opinion, but no matter if we were happy or sad, or if it was friction going on, some people were conflicting. Because I grew up with my grandma and an assortment of other relatives, so I did not grow up in that nice little nuclear environment. But so with cousins and aunties and uncles and all that stuff. And so if there was a conflict or whatever was going on in the house, when grandma cooked, everybody just came and was nice to each other. But now that could mean we done swept all of it under the rug and they never talked about it again. And everybody on edge, but we in there eating together and we talking, and it's everything is better. It's calmed down. So for me, love growing up in my house looked like looked like a good, healthy family meal. Monique, what made this one stand out so much to you?
It's so funny because it actually ties into what we were saying. For me, it was different than maybe Tanya's, where my parents have been married for 42 years. I'm 35, so they were married for longer than what I've been alive.
Right.
And my dad was in the military. We moved around a lot. It was the nuclear family. I have a younger brother, and it was pretty much just us for most of our lives. Like, we had friends, of course, outside and in different communities and whatnot, but it was always just us. And we, had to do things together. And it kind of ties in with yours too, like Tracy, like the shared meals, where that's part of probably, where I get my foodie sense, and I lose weight now because that was love. That was, we would sit down, share a meal together, and and talk. It wasn't necessarily like to sit down and have dinner at a specific time all the time, but I do remember, just seeing that love and seeing the love between, my mom and my dad. They weren't always like lovey-dovey up on each other all the time, which is totally fine with me. But, I knew that they showed me what a real marriage was. We have our good times, we have our bad times, nothing too bad, nothing, abusive or anything like that. But, we love each other and we're going to stick through this thing, even, to today. Like they showed me what it truly is. And they were kind of asking me like, okay, you got this little boyfriend, what you going to do?
What you going to do?
What's the purpose of this? So, it all kind of, comes back around, and I'm hoping to be that couple as well, that people can look up to and say, okay, that's, a real couple. They have their struggles sometimes, but they love each other no matter what.
Max, Francine, what's that for you? What is it? What did love look like growing up in your house?
I remember teamwork. I remember that when my dad worked nights, so when we came home from school, my dad was there. And so my mom, so when we got out of school, like at whatever, like 3, my dad was there. My mom would come home shortly after. She worked 9 to 5, so she would come home shortly thereafter, but we that's my dog, guys. I'm in the but I remember when it came to my sister and I, it was teamwork. And so she got off, then he would get ready to go to work. So it kind of worked that way.
Mm-hmm.
when it came to us, especially as it relates to the schedule. And then when he would come home, she would make him uh, eggs and
Mm-hmm.
steak. But she would take the fry. She would make these fries, or like home fries, and she would put the egg on top. But the egg would not be totally done.
Mm.
But I just remember, and that's the good part. But I also remember the bad part. But I do remember there being love. Um, where
Mm-hmm.
there was a certain amount of respect. There was this conversation, where they really came together. So I remember that. I remember the bad stuff, but I remember there was, there is love can still flourish, even, if it doesn't last. I remember seeing that, and I have this memory of them taking my mom and my dad taking me and my sister around trying to find go-go boots for my sister. I had black and white patent leather, but my sister's foot was a little smaller. So the challenge was finding boots that fit her foot. And I still remember that, trying to find those go-go boots in the snow. So,
Wow.
yeah,
So teamwork. That's a really good one because it's households where that does not exist.
Yeah.
And people are kind of combating each other or competing against each other. But to come together as a team, like I said, it doesn't make it perfect. Like even in my household where I'm talking about, we talk, we not talk. That ain't what I mean. We ate.
Yeah.
That's not to say that there weren't some drag out crazy times, but at the same time, when we talk about what did love look like us setting it all aside to come together and eat, and I got the arms to prove it. Tanya, what did love look like in your house?
Okay, so my stuff was dysfunctional, but anyway, so I would have to say I can't say I really saw that in my parents' house while they were, still together. But I mean, I have to, looking back over my whole childhood, love was, and then we're not even gonna get into what does that really mean anyway. But I do think the times that were positive and I have warm memories around are around the times, and I spent a lot. I grew up in Millington, which is a little town, it's probably about 40 miles from my relatives in Memphis, but we were down there all the time. And we would go down there when my mom was a teacher. We get out of school, we go down there on Friday after school, and we would not come back to Millington till either late Sunday night or sometimes Monday morning. Oh. So those weekends with my grandmother, who at her house lived both of my other aunts and my two cousins. And so love was Saturday nights, Soul Train, hot tamales from the fat man on Bellevue with the big sombrero. That was love. My grandma was a candidate. It was just all of us being together and really good times. That was probably one of the most positive times. And the thing now, it dawns on me, there were no men around. None. It was just a house full of women, folks walking around with their slips, they hair tied up and all various array of stuff, Yeah. But yeah, those are my, warmest memories, or either that or Sunday after church next door eating, plates with fried chicken, green beans, and mac and cheese after church between the 11 o'clock service and a 3 o'clock program with my godmother, who was a missionary and who was my grandmother's best friend, because we get out of there, they'd be over there till the cows come home, So also there were no men there either. So yeah.
It's just kind of been a thing. But you mentioned something that anybody who's watching from Memphis, girl, I didn't know y'all used the tamale man on Bellevue.
Oh yeah. Where did you gonna get it from?
They used to talk about that. In all that time to my family, they would talk about it and all that. And I think they did it more probably before I was born, but I never had tamales until I was grown. So I never had tamales from the tamale man on Bellevue.
Girl, what was your childhood childhood like? Really?
I know, right? What was I doing with my life? I was at Al's Tasty Burger, but that's a whole nother story, girl. Let's see. Felicia with Gold Digger Diary says, I didn't see a lot of love in my house. Long story, another show. I know. I was in foster care and then adopted by a couple. Adopted dad died when she was 4, and adopted mom suffered from depression. Yeah, so that's tough. That can be very tough to have both parents, challenged in some way, and then, like I said, to lose one, and then on top of that, be in foster care and adoption.
Yeah.
A lot of things coming to the table on what love looks like in your families, but the beautiful part of it is, and I think I can speak to this for Felicia, having spent a little time knowing her the past few months, you can create the love that you didn't have in the family that you have, which brings us to our thing here, creating that love that you didn't see, our topic. Now, let's get to the nitty gritty on love versus respect. This all started when I was looking, I had asked in Felicia's group, I asked the question, I said, what is the what are some topics y'all want to talk about? And people kind of hinted around, love, what it really is, and respect. And, it kind of hinted around it. And so I just said, I'll make this a love and respect thing, and I'll talk about it in that way. And it brought back to mind, as I was preparing to do that first episode about that, it brought back to mind something that I read early in my studies as a therapist. This is a woman by the name of Shanti Feldhahn. She has a book out, or several books out. She's not even a therapist or nothing like that. She's like a researcher. And as a researcher, she was doing these things to try to understand men and women, and why the conflict, why the clash sometimes, and all that stuff. So to that end, she actually had this workshop, and she had some couples come in, men and women, and she asked, if you would prefer love, raise your hand. All the women raised their hand. If you prefer respect, raise your hand. All the men raised their hand, and they both looked at each other like, what's wrong with you? Like, what's the problem? Now, this had to be done no less than 10 to 15 years ago. Because when I read it, it was at least 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. So I know now it's very, it was from a different time is the point I'm making. Well, fast forward, I've asked this question on my Facebook platform and in different platforms that's where I got y'all from. And y'all all said love. But the majority of people, including the women, have all said respect, have mostly said respect on a large part. So my question to y'all is this. What is your, I'm going to bring you up one at a time. What is your reason why you said love? Francine, why did you say love?
Well, because I think love in action encompasses respect. So there's that, if you're someone, because I actually posed the same poll on my page, and someone said, well, does that include brotherly love? And it's like, I think it includes all expressions of love. To have, because I love you, so I'm going to respect you. I'm going to watch my words. I'm going to say things that edify you, not put you down. So if I'm flowing from a loving place, it is natural for me to respect you and to honor you, so I don't, to say respect, it's like, are we saying respect because it feels easier to have or to demand,
That's a great point.
The easiest one, that I can almost guarantee I will get. It's like, no, that's not even a guarantee, if you choose that. But I chose love because I just think, and it's like, but what if, I was having this conversation. It's like, but what if they don't know that? Well, first of all, love, we're having conversations. We're I'm letting you know what my needs are, and that this is what I want, and you're letting me know, and it's because I love you. I'm
That
going
we're
to
able,
heed
Right.
what you're saying and say, okay, Bob doesn't want me to do this. Well, it's like, I love Bob. So, Bob, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to say, oh, that's not, I'm not going to gaslight him and say, no, that's not true. That's not, So, yeah, I believe you can get respect with love, but you can't
you
get,
believe it comes under the umbrella of love. Yeah.
you can't always get respect with love, because I respect the person walking down the street just out of humanity and
Right.
civility. So it's like, but do I love them? I mean, yeah, in a biblical overall sense, but not really, like, not that kind of brotherly, yes. But it's
Right.
like, I just chose love. I really believe it encompasses everything, that because it's an action verb, and it encompasses everything that you need to feel safe and respected and honored.
Right.
Welcome, Kristen. Kristen, I know that's your friend. She says, "Hey, I'm late, but I'm here, girl. You're right on time." We just started talking about love versus respect. We were talking about some other things beforehand, but you can watch the replay. Girl, it's gonna be up on the Single Black Women page. So care for Single Black Women page. Now, Monique, tell me why you chose love.
So it's funny because I told my husband I was going to be on this, and told him the topic, and I asked him the same question. I was like, well, I didn't ask him. I told him that I chose love, and immediately he was like, "Oh, respect, no doubt about it." And I was like, "But why?" So we had this whole conversation, which actually I do already, because we've had conversations about this before, and he said that his need for respect is a little bit more than his need for love. But I told him, like, for me, respect is under love. And I pulled up, 1 Corinthians 13.
Come on now, 13 and 13.
Love is kind, love is patient, and we went through the whole list, and I of course it doesn't say specifically respect, but it says that it's not proud, it's not rude, it's not self-seeking. So whenever
all of that points to respect, yeah,
exactly, that's pretty much what respect encompasses. So I was like, I'd rather have the love, because respect is right there under. If I love you, if I truly love you, I'm gonna respect you.
Not lust you, not if I lust you, but if I love you.
Not if I'm infatuated with you, not if I say that I love you, but I'm really out here doing something different. If I truly 100% love you, I'm gonna respect you. I love my husband, I'm gonna respect him. The things that he says, I'm going to take that into account. I'm going to take his feelings into account, and I expect him to do the same. So I told him that, and he was like, well, no, that's not the question. It's separate. Which one would you want? Like, love or respect? I said, I still choose love. I'd rather choose love. For me, to truly love somebody, it requires a lot more work. I can respect you without loving you. I can love you with the love of God. Sure. And I do that for plenty of people out there. I've had, previous bosses and different things where it's like, I respect them because they're my authority, but I shouldn't have didn't love them the way that I love my friends, my family, my spouse, my children. So for me, I'd still choose love, because I would much rather have somebody's love, because they would take into account, my feelings and different things that, I would have required from them. Whereas if I just had your respect, then
there's so much that could go missing. That's my belief about it too, is that love covers so much, and not just cover as in like you fail and it's going to cover you, but it literally includes so much, and whereas respect is it's what it is. And the way I defined it, and I will get you guys' points of view in just a moment. Tanya, I still coming to you about why you chose love, but from my perspective, love to me it includes things like grace. You know what I'm saying? And even for just general fellow man, I have that. And so when I say love, when I'm asking this question, and most people take it as like romantic love, I'm thinking about all love. I'm thinking about all love. In some way, shape, form, or fashion, I can say right now with full certainty, I love everybody who walks this planet right now. I love them. I have a common courtesy for them. I have a grace that I'm going to extend to them. I'll get myself in trouble sometimes because I do have grace for who people trying to counsel, and it's people that I'm like, yeah, you counsel. I still love you. I want the best for you. I want you to figure it out. I want you to win. I want you to get it, but you still kind of counsel. So I can totally lean into that whole notion that I would rather have that too. To me, love means I honor you for who you are, and respect is like I honor you for what you do. And I would much rather be honored for who I am as a person, mistakes and all, than be respected for all the stuff that I could do now and I may not be able to do 10 years from now. I prefer love. Tanya, why did you choose love?
I want to say the first time I saw this question some years ago, I think I said respect as well. But piggyback on what a lot of other people said, love includes respect. It just has to. But I think love is way beyond that, and I'm assuming we're talking about, husband, wife, relationships. That's kind of
however you want to take love and talk about it. Yeah.
Right. And well, just understanding kind of what your mission is. That's kind of when I think about that relationship, and I think, okay, do I want a respect relationship with my spouse? Or do I want a love relationship? Love has it has more weight to it. It's more behind that. It's a putting up with. It's a long-term type of thing. Whereas I can respect my boss, but they get on my nerves and I don't want to see them. And if they call, I'm not answering the phone, and I feel.
And if you want to, you'll quit that job.
Exactly. And I will move on, and I will respect you working for another company. Love just has, what you want is you want love. And our Bishop Turner used to say this. Love says, "I got you." Yeah. Whatever happens, I got you. Respect don't say that.
Respect don't say that at all.
It don't say it. And so I was like, yeah, love is a whole different thing. It's a whole different thing. And I think, understood in that sense, most people, you want love. Yeah, you want to be respected. And I think a lot of that comes from, it's something about our community. Disrespect is a big thing. I don't see that. I don't know where that came from, that we demand it so heavy of each other. Respect has become this big thing. And even if you get respect, you still don't have anything if there's no love there. But I just think in the other communities, how many times do you hear Caucasian people saying they disrespected them? And it was caused, all the fights, folks have died because of disrespect. You just don't see that out of these other communities. I don't know what that is about us. I'm sure it's probably connected to slavery somehow. But I do think we need to say, love is different. Love costs you something. Love is putting up with when you don't want to put up with. Love is commitment. And respect, none of that comes with respect. None of it.
Wow, you know what? That brings up a really good point when you say I'm sure it's connected to slavery, probably more so than we think. Because that, if you've heard of I can't think of it, the term, but it's when that trauma is passed down like
generational trauma.
Generational, but it's another word for it. Like it's in our DNA. The trauma.
In our DNA, yeah.
It's a word for I can't think of the name of. Anybody know in the comments, let us know. But yeah, for so long we weren't valued for what we did. We had a lot of love amongst us. Okay, that was given, but as far as being valued for what we did by the people who were judging what we did, we could do the best thing in the world and then get beat down. So maybe that's where it comes from, why it's so deeply in our DNA. I want to touch base here in our comments and see what the good people are saying. Gayon says, so what do people mean when they say respect? Like I said, for me, my definition of respect is being valued or honored for what you can do. And that's my simple definition. And then when I looked it up in the dictionary gave a very similar definition. What are you ladies? What's your definitions of respect?
I think.
Okay, why y'all think on it?
I think respect. Honestly, I think respect brings with it a sense of awe, and in a light way, fear. I think those things come with it.
I want to be feared.
Yes. In other words, here's a line. In other words, if you respect me, a large part of the strong, angry Black woman is the thing that's been put upon us, the sense of whether it's my children, whether it's my husband, whether it's the boss at work, this person has a bit of fear that I'm going to behave in a certain way, that I can exert pressure over them to do certain things.
That is, girl, you preaching. You preaching better than we shouting in here, cause
y'all so funny.
Ma'am, that is huge. That fear, I hadn't even in all these conversations, which it wouldn't with the, I don't think the people who were on the respect side would even see this, but like you said, there is a element of fear involved in there. That's amazing. That, you know what? And people want to be feared because they scared, and they want people to be scared of it.
Yeah. It's a control thing. It's control. Because even if you think about your kids, we laugh about all the memes about if you had a Black mama, but most of that is I want my children to be more afraid of me than they little friends, so I can keep them from harm. I can keep them from I can control their behavior such that it won't bring me tears down the road.
Down the line.
Same thing with your marriage. I want my husband to be so afraid of me so he don't cheat, and I can control. It's trying to control our environment.
Girl, I mentioned that in the previous episode that love requires a whole lot more vulnerability. It requires a whole lot more of being exposed to potential whatever. A lot of people just aren't willing to do that. Gayon also says, do they just not know that love encompasses respect? So I'm imagining Gayon's response is she would choose love over respect. Felicia says respect, and I wonder what her thoughts is on some of the things we've been saying here. Girl, you got to leave a comment, girl, know what you said. And then she also said, I believe they are interchangeably really. So somebody brought this up in one of the past episodes about it being interchangeable. What are y'all thoughts on that? Because I don't know. I see the only interchange that I can see between the two is honor, but the purpose of the honor for me is the difference. But it both encompasses some form to me of honor. But why is the big question. And I would rather, like I said, be honored for who I am than what I do. What are y'all's thoughts on that one, that they're interchangeable? Because y'all was all like, oh, no.
It's love, respect falls under the umbrella. And much like what Tanya was saying, like I got this visual of basically respect has boundaries. Respect is like a box. So that can fit into this box, whereas love is like an ocean. It's so much. It encompasses so much. You can put that
again. Love is like what, girl?
I got little gems every now and then. Respect is like a box. There's boundaries. You can put the box into the ocean, but you can only put but so much ocean into the box. So
you preaching better than we shall.
That's God. I don't know where it came from.
It's like love is the willful laying down of all control over what happens to you, in a sense, and that is very scary. So, in a sense, we don't want that. We'd rather be respected because we got control in that.
We still got some control. We got some barriers. We got some stuff. That's put our reins on.
That's scary in this world of 2021. How can a person go about all willy-nilly loving folks and just susceptible to anything happening to them? That's no wonder we ain't get married, and no wonder.
Definitely adds to it. Let's see what Kirstina. I've said Kristen. I'm sorry, Sugar. Kirstina said, she said, this is so interesting and on point. Masculine energy wants their thoughts respected first and feelings cherished second. Feminine energy wants their feelings cherished first and thoughts respected second. At least that's how it was. So ladies, that's a great point, Christina, because I want to know what you guys think has been the turning point, because at minimum 10 years ago when she first did this survey, probably older than that, at minimum, people, they were evenly split. Like the women all wanted love in that particular, in that room that she was in, and the men all wanted respect. Now, more women have come into this side. What do you think has caused that in society that has brought that about, that shift among women?
You know what?
Francine, I want to hear from you because you've been quiet.
Monique said something that I was thinking too, where, and it's going to piggyback on your question, Tracy, where we're in the workplace. Mm-hmm. We want that respect in the workplace. We don't want to be spoken over in the workplace, in a meeting, because I'm a woman, and it's like I get dismissed by the man in the meeting. So for me, when I think of respect, I think of boundaries, and it's like, this is my boundary. I've communicated this boundary, and then I expect you to respect that boundary and not cross that boundary. So the shift may be more so, more women in the workplace, where we're asking for that respect in our professional world,
So it's kind of shifted into, and which, like I said, this question was asked, if we'll say 10 years ago, that was just 2011. We was working then too. And if it was asked 20 years ago, that was 2000. I mean, we was working. We were in workforce. We were out here doing the thing.
We're talking about the Me Too movement. We're talking about, I shouldn't say just the Me Too movement, but we're becoming more vocal, or we have become more vocal about stuff that we swept under the rug, to keep our job going. And things that we would just let slide because it's like, that's the boss, because there are some bosses from hell that don't know how to respect or talk to you.
That's true. So you look like you were itching to make a point. Come on.
While you was talking, a thought popped up into my head.
What
if the biggest change is that for women, love has equal disrespect?
Yes, I was going to say that too.
Or people who they have loved have disrespected them. Is that what you're saying?
So to love someone has meant in too many cases to be
translated as
disrespect. So I want you to,
lead with respect. Then after that, I'm gonna let you love me, or if I'm going to love you,
show me that you gonna respect me.
Wow.
And then, we can talk about love at some point down the future, or maybe never.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's the explanation I've heard for why there's a difference now.
Yeah,
we're getting away from that.
We've been together 20 years and got 6 kids. We're not married. We've never said I love you, but there's I feel like this person respects me. So I'm hanging here with some undefined type of relationship, but the key thing was I feel there's some respect there. Maybe
that is so good. Monique, did you have something to add to that before I go back to the comments?
I was going to say the same thing. I think, which 10 years ago, I think that we're starting to see some of the things that our mothers and grandmothers allowed throughout the years. The cheating, the babies on the side, the disrespect of the hopefully not, but the physical abuse, the emotional abuse that they used to endure in the name of love. Whereas now it's like, no, I'm not going to accept that. We've become more vocal. We've had, our sister groups and people around the world who we share ideas with, and we're like, no, we're not going to take that necessarily. So we're going to demand that respect first and foremost, and then we can worry about the love later on. Let's worry about the little thing first, and then
that's a really great point
later on.
That makes me think about something else.
What?
I wonder if the fuel of interracial relationships between Black women and white men, if that is being, how much does a sense of, I feel like this white man respects me, come into play with that?
Well,
because we met, I work in tech, I work in tech, I'm a doctor, whatever that is, we met on that playing field. So in other words, the thought of disrespect never came into play ever. That just never was there.
Or I'm not attacked or belittled because I have achieved X, Y, and Z. Yeah. Now, will that respect in your career translate to that relationship with that white man or not? Who knows, But that there is some sort of respect that is built in because y'all came together on some other level. And y'all wouldn't normally. Look, let me see what Tracy says here. She says, I think to answer this question, it's important to define love because in today's society, there are so many different definitions of what love is that might make it harder for some people to answer directly because they're working with a different definition, i.e. romantic love, Corinthians love, brotherly love, friend love, pay the bills love, partnership love. Right. There are so many definitions of love that there can be. For the sake of this conversation and the way I have interpreted for myself and for answering this and just the way I live my life, it's an unconditional positive regard. They use that phrase when I was in school to get my master's degree. It's unconditional positive regard. And I have that for everybody. I think everybody got good intentions. I do. I don't care who knows that. And the moment you don't, I will deal with you accordingly. But I personally think nobody, and I'm not to say that I think people are just perfect or anything like that, or that everybody can be trusted. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I unconditionally will put you in positive, put the ball in your court, stack the chips in your favor. And when you knock them down, you surely knock them down. I didn't knock them down. You started with a nice hand with me. You all, everybody started with a nice hand with me. And then when you start cutting up, I see it and you lose points. That don't mean I don't love you. It don't mean I still don't have positive regard towards you. But now I see where you've put the limits. And so now, I may lose a little respect for you, or I might put some distance between me and you, but don't mean I ever want anything bad to happen to you. So how do you ladies define love for the sake of this conversation? Monique, you nod. Come on, girl, come with it.
You was on my toes. That's basically the same, the positive. I love that definition, the positive regard for every person. I love you until you show me otherwise. And not even that. I still, want the best for you.
I still want the best for you. I just know how the limits work with you.
How to treat you in that. And like I said, for me, it's that Corinthians love. It's all those things. It's all encompassing. It's all those things under it. For as far as in the relationship status, respect falls under there. It should come in there as well. If you love me, we're being vulnerable with each other. We're opening ourselves up to be hurt, but you need to respect that and you need to respect me so that, I know that I can trust you in all of those things. So that's
lovely, lovely. Yeah. Francine, Tanya, either one of y'all, what's your definition of love?
When she categorized
the different ones,
that is the definition. And all of those have, as I said earlier,
the element of respect.
The component of respect.
Yes.
Love for me equals safety. The availability of vulnerability, to be, the access to protection, respect, honor, consideration, all those things, communication, you hear me, I hear you, we don't tune each other out, it's all action to me. So it's like, what is love? It's like, that's what it is. It's like, I'm not going to put this person in danger. I'm not going to put this person in danger. I'm going to consider this person because I love them. I value their presence. So I'm not going to do something. Sometimes we take people for granted. It's like, oh, they're not going anywhere. It's like, well, why would you even test it? Why would you even,
Right.
Because you don't know how you assume that people are always going to give you the benefit of the doubt, give you a second chance. And everybody is not cut that way.
Because they're coming from right here. Where Felicia said respect comes with conditions.
It does. I don't really ascribe to I don't ascribe to unconditional love to an extent. There are some conditions to your actions and circumstances. I know it's not unconditional. There's some terms. And if you violate those terms, I'm just never one, if you dishonor me, it's like, and I choose to sever the relationship. It's like specifically romantic. Can we be friends? It's like, no, you weren't even a good boyfriend. You know what I mean? You didn't even love me as a boyfriend. Like what? So family members, if they're toxic, and I'm not saying, and that's a case by case basis. But if it's certain family members that make you, you get physically ill being around those people, then they're obviously not displaying loving actions towards you. And there's some conditions with that. Like, I'm not going to be a perfect person.
That's my thing. That's how, the way I define it for my life and myself is, like I said, unconditional positive regard. Whether you treat me bad or wrong, I still want good to happen to you. I'm not the type of person that I'm not a revengeful person. I'm not trying to spite you. Now, if we get to a point we got to do some legal work, we're going to do that. Or something like that. Yeah. But no matter what, I still have that unconditional positive regard. So even if I have to dismiss you from my life, even if you are a toxic person, even if you show me that we can't commingle on a regular basis, bye. But I still love you. Yeah. I still have unconditional positive regard for you. And that's because to me, I'm still, the way I look at it, I'm still seeing God's reflection in you. And I can't, as much as what you do may hurt, I feel a personal, it makes me sick to have that big of an ill feeling towards another human being. I can't do it. I can't hold that like that. So I still want you to, I still want the best for you. I have friends now that we're not really close, but I'll never tell their secrets. I'll never, expose them or anything like that. Even exes that have done me wrong. One guy came back and he was like, "You got the most grace I have ever seen from anybody." And I'm like, I find it as a compliment. I will never wish you wrong. I wish you well always. And that's what I consider loving everybody. And that way, even if they treat me wrong, it's not my responsibility. I'm going to separate myself if I need to, but that don't mean I don't love you.
Yeah, and we're all growing.
That's what I was going. The definition you gave, that definition that you gave, and I think about, God is love. So the source of what real love is comes from God, and He talks about, in one scripture He says, "I have loved thee with an everlasting love." The eternal nature, because even in what God has done, the awesomeness of salvation is that before we started acting right, Christ already died. Before we even, while we was cutting up sideways, He went first to love us before we loved Him. He didn't wait on us to love Him. And so a lot of times, I think we probably want to make sure and view love from that lens. That means love is just a sense that you are a child of God, whether you kill 32 people, whether you treat me any kind of way at work, this person is a soul that God loves. God, everybody who goes to hell, we cannot say God does not love those people, because He does. So love, from God's definition, does not mean not punishment. Doesn't mean it's no discipline. Doesn't mean that I'm not going to take your phone calls. I'm not going to loan you any money.
Right.
it doesn't mean any of that. It's just his overall position toward mankind is one of love, and that's it's not always easy to do because our feelings and emotions are involved. But I agree with you. That's that's kind of what we want to strive to. Especially those people who hurt us. And when we talk about cancel culture that's going on today, cancel culture comes in to say you can do something that will strip your soul and your humanity away from you. That you no longer have a right for us to consider you, and we can just do anything with you, and that's absolutely not the biblical case. You know, so not that it's easy, like the pastor say, it's not easy, but it's right.
Thank you.
I'm looking at Christina's. She said, "I define love by the commitments a person is willing to make and keep." When I was working on my first book that never got out because I got shame and wouldn't put it out, one of the ways that I defined, the name of it was going to be "Can You Love Me?" But one of the ways that I defined love in that book was it's a conscious decision to commit. Period. Like it's a conscious decision to commit. And now as I've gotten older, it's like I could add to that to another person's well-being, and so I really agree with what she says. I define love by commitments a person is willing to make and keep. Very good. And then Tracy says here, let's see, some good players, players with an A probably, have great unconditional positive regard for a woman, but they cheat. In respect, there is a sense of honoring a person and boundaries. I don't cross certain lines. See, I don't think if a player is doing that, he has unconditional lust, perhaps.
Yeah, it's not love.
He has unconditional access maybe to you, and you might unconditionally love him, or even her if she's a player. But a user ain't loving. Right. A user is not one who can exhibit or one who exhibits in that moment or in that relationship. To me, a user, and when I think of a player, I think of somebody who is jumping around from person to person, saying what needs to be said, doing what needs to be done to get access. And so if you're doing that, if you're a person who's practicing that, you don't have the capacity to love, in my opinion. Not the people you're playing. Not the people you're playing. Right. You may love somebody in somewhere in your world, but to me, you don't have the capacity. I can't. If you're playing somebody, you can't tell me at the same time you want their best interest. You have their best interest in heart. You can't. I can y'all compute? Because I can't compute that. No. I can't say you're a good player and then you also have unconditional positive regard for people. I don't think
no. In that case, you don't have either. You don't love. In that case, you don't have either. You don't have that love, and you don't respect that person.
You don't respect either, right? You don't love it.
You're all about I would say that's absolutely true. The only thing I also think, going back to kind of what we talked about though, how God kind of separates from, it's like, because I love you, I'm going to do these things no matter what you do. He sent Christ to die. He did that first. He didn't wait to see, okay, let me see how many I'm really going to believe in Jesus. And then maybe he didn't do that. He went first. And so, then it's like, okay, so take it. So that's the level of love that God wants us to have for everyone. But I do think when you talk about a husband and wife relationship, there's some other things that come along.
Yeah, there's some more levels of love.
And what does that look like? Because most of the problems we have, are the things like, it's like, how many people's like, I love you, I really do, but I just had to sleep with this, your sister, or I had to do this, I had to do that and the other, or, I won't go to work, or, I'm not taking care of the kids. There's all these other things that are commitment related things that come with that type of relationship and trying to have a family.
Tracy, that's good. That's good, Tanya. Tracy said, I chose love by the Corinthians definition first, but I think it encompasses honor and respect, in my opinion. I totally agree. Yep. I agree. Like Francine said, that love, whatever love we're talking about, whether it's the filial love, whether it's the agape love, whatever it is, it encompasses some form of respect.
Yeah.
If you truly are loving, not lusting, not loving. Alicia said, regarding love, doesn't it depend on what type of love? Yeah, we talk. Okay, yeah. So overall, do you love because it's what we're supposed to do, no matter the treatment? And I guess we've already kind of hit on that too. Then she also says, right to something we said. Then she said, bye, but I still love you. Right. You got it's good some people sometimes. Yeah. But I still love you. I don't want nothing bad to happen to you. But bye though. Which she followed by the laughing emoji. And then she said, God, the source is love. We have no option but to love. Right. If you really gonna let God flow through you and you be that replica in the earth, you're gonna have to do love too. Let's see. This is a very interesting discussion. Absolutely. Felicia says she loved that Monique. I don't know what you said, but Monique been dropping gems, as have all of y'all. So I don't know which one you talking about, Chad. But yeah, the little heart emoji. Let's see. Yes, I like the commitment, definitely. And then unconditional regard. He looks at her favorably. And that's about it. That's about it. He looks at her favorably, but may or may not treat her favorably. If we talking still about, the whole player of it all. Man, y'all, this has been a wonderful discussion. I'm so glad that we came together and that you guys were willing to be a part of talking about the love aspect of it. Because like I said, everybody I've had on up to this point to talk about this, it's all been about respect. And, as a host, you don't want to, combat your people too much. That ain't this ain't the Maury show, nothing like that. Nothing like that, Jerry Springer, nothing like this. I want to, have cordial conversation, but also it was very heavy on me after the last episode. I'm like, we need to talk about the love piece. And I'm like, I'm gonna go find some people who buy into the notion, who gets what I'm saying is a part, that is love. And that doesn't mean let me just put myself on here for a minute. That don't mean to anybody that I feel like you're wrong if you say you still want respect or whatever. That's not my purpose. I just wanted a platform, a space, I wanted to be documented what the value of having love is and why we think it's gone out of society. And then you can take all the information and then decide, do I want love or do I want respect? And if you land on either side of that, that's on you, boo-boo. I'm not saying nobody's wrong. I'm just saying I wanted to talk about it and give it its due discussion. Love, that is. So, ladies, with all that being said, I want to hear about what you guys are doing, how people can contact you, why this hair is in my eye. I want y'all to talk about what it is that you're doing. Monique, what is it? Because I only know Monique because she answered in one of the groups where I posed this question. So Monique, tell me all about you, what you're doing in the world, how can people contact you if they wanted to, or girl, if you want people to.
I'm a regular schmegular girl. I'm just plain on Monique Spinner. There ain't many of us out there, so if you want to contact me on Facebook, you certainly can. I love having these type of conversations, discussions. I'm so happy I responded to that. I the poll. I didn't think anything was going to come of this. Tracy, you are amazing, and I'm so happy. This is everything. I don't know. This was just great. It was a great conversation. I'm Monique Spinner on Facebook. I think I'm like Tenderoni Moni on Instagram. I don't know. I don't really get on the other platforms as much, but I don't. I just do regular things. I'm just a mom and working and all that other stuff. So if you ever need anything,
just a mom, I don't know about that. Right. Look, I'm afraid of motherhood. While you up here talking about just a mom, girl, you out here superhero raising children. Girl, come on.
Just a superhero mom.
About that. That's what we're gonna get on the conversation about offline. You're gonna have to talk to me about being a mama. All right. Tanya, what are you into? What are you doing? And how can the people reach you?
Well, so okay, I am.
It's gonna be a long one. Because Tanya can do everything, y'all.
I can't. No, I can't do everything, but I'm interested in a lot of things. My passion is definitely working. My day gig is an e-commerce strategy, and so one of the things I'm passionate about is helping people who have a great product idea turn it into a great brand and build a business around that. And so I have a little venture called greatideagirl.com where I kind of offer those consulting services, whether it's business strategy, e-commerce strategy. I am a Shopify partner and I build Shopify stores. So there's that. And then I also have my other passion project called Church Girls Travel, which I launched it right before COVID hit. So, I haven't actually gone anywhere yet, but, looks like the Lord gonna, give us some relief from COVID. And so hopefully we'll be taking off going somewhere. And really the concept around it is so many people would like to travel internationally, but you may not want to go by yourself. You'd kind of like to go with a group of like-minded people who are interested in things that you want to do. A lot of people are traveling and they go into the clubs and they out on the beach walking naked. And, Church Girls Travel is a group for the rest of us who we not trying to wild out like that. So you can visit that site and kind of join the mailing list to keep up with what we're doing. And my latest passion project is called Global Girl Apothecary. And it's related to the concept of scouring the globe for all these great, unique botanical ingredients that have great benefit to our skin. So it's basically skin food in a product. And so that is in pre-launch now. Hopefully it'll be launching sometime later this year. But that website is globalgirlapothecary.com. And that's all I'm going to say.
Now, Tanya, if you'll write all those websites in our chat over there, and then I can share it on here so people can access it quickly. And then after the broadcast, they can click on it easily.
Okay.
So if you do it in the private chat, or if you can do it on the main chat, you can do that too. But if not, put in the private chat, and I'll just copy and post it.
Okay. So I'm gonna have to try to.
Okay, and then let's see, Francine, tell us what you do, how you serve the world, and how the people can reach you.
Woo. Well, currently building my platform, formerly Life and Style with Francine, now the Francine Walker Show, effective a week ago. Three shows in the can. This was my first week. This is my first week? Yes. Second week, actually. And working on that. You can follow me on Instagram, or like the Francine Walker Show page. Subscribe to my YouTube page as well. Personally, I'm reclaiming my time from COVID because it basically took its toll on me physically, mentally, spiritually, and every otherly out there. So I'm embarking right now. I'm currently, matter of fact, I'm getting ready to work out now because I have to do 2 workouts, and it's like, okay, they have to be at least.
She's doing a hard 75.
So it's like, oh yeah, I've got it. It's like, oh, my girlfriend's coming in. So it's like, so I'm doing that. This is day 5. Basically where I am required to work out twice a day, 1 day out or 1 session outside. So I've been doing walking outside, read a self-development book for 10 pages, drink a gallon of water, need to get my water, take a progress pic, and follow some form of a diet because COVID has worn itself on me. And as a result, there was some emotional eating, and I'm sure people can relate to that. But that's where I am, looking at some other ventures to get into while I'm building my platform, and my brand. So it's a lot.
So what's your website where people can reach you, or even your social media?
My social media is at Francine Walker TV on Instagram, and Facebook is the Francine Walker Show, and FrancineWalker.com is my website. But the best way is Instagram and Facebook.
Okay.
And my email, if you do that, if you reach me there, or just the way it's spelled, the Francine Walker Show, the in the front and show on the end. So, but yeah.
Okay, I'm putting Tanya's links there, and then okay, all right. Then Francine, can you type in your links to it, and I can share those. And then Monique, you said at Instagram you were, because I know I followed you on Instagram just this morning. What's your Instagram?
I think it's I'm putting it in there.
Okay, put it in there, and then I'll just copy and paste it. And so let's see. Back over to our comments. Thank you, ladies, for sharing. Felicia says, "Great show, ladies." And then Christina said, "I love y'all. This is good. I love you too, baby." And really appreciate everybody who has tuned in. This has been amazing conversation. I think we may find this format for Friday Live moving forward, where we spend a whole month talking about one topic as opposed to hopping around to different things and bringing on different people of different opinions and all that. Because I really, I think I like this. I like digging into something and like uncovering it and turning it over every which way, and then going from there. So I really enjoyed this format. All right, and I'm just putting in our guest information here. You can reach Monique. She sent hers at Tenderoni Moni. Girl, you better be that then. And then also at Monique Spinner on Facebook. Okay. I am typing in the private chat. I keep doing it, y'all. I keep doing it. I'm intended. I got the salon tuned in. What? Like a beauty salon? Is that what she means? Christina, you talking about the beauty salon?
She has her own salon.
Wow.
Well,
praise the Lord. Hey, ladies at the salon. How y'all doing? Okay. And Francine, did you type in your information? What's the name of your salon, Christina? I want to shout it out. And where are you located? And Francine, did you type in your information?
I did. You want me to put it in the comments? Take it out of the comment, put it in the comment section?
I see it. You can do it, but I was going to do it too.
Okay, yeah.
I didn't see it at first. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can't do it in that's your
problem.
Yep, it's there.
Yeah, I see it. I got you now. I didn't see it at first. Yeah, I'm doing too much. All right, there we go. Francine there. And let's see. Christina is at Halos, the salon. Where is it located? Where are you located?
In Atlanta.
Oh, in Atlanta, Midtown. Okay, then, girl. All right, so y'all in Atlanta, y'all go down to see Christina at Halos at the salon, child. Because she be showing up. I think she just showed up on multiple Friday Live episodes. And her website is halosthesalon.atl.com. Thank you for sharing that with us. So that's in the chat. All right, you guys. So I'm Tracy Reddy. Okay, I'm working with the single ladies out here. I am the #1 dating preparation consultant for single Black women. I will help you get your life together. And let me explain something. I was having this conversation with somebody the other day. The difference in what I do and what therapy is that therapy will help you heal. Period. But what I do and endeavor to do is to help you after your healed self all together. Then how do you share that with someone? And it's just recently that I learned that distinction too. I help you learn how to open yourself back up to sharing, because 9 times out of 10, it's relationships that's been hurt us, whether it's from our parents or from our, anybody that we've come along in life, and including ourselves. That relationship with ourselves can be damaged or toxic. And so we do the work to go through that, and then show you how to merge your life together with someone else, and have the courage to do that, because it takes courage, as we see, to open yourself, your heart up to being vulnerable. Sometimes you need that accountability, that challenge, to do that. And that's what I do. All right. So if you want to reach me, you can find me at tracyreddy.com. You want to schedule a complimentary consultation, single ladies. And if you want to see me on, get with me online, Soul Care for Single Black Women or Tracy Reddy, chat all over the place. Twitter, Instagram. Chat, I'm trying to start up on the what's the little one, the little children doing? TikTok.
That I don't know.
I just ain't. I just ain't. Look at Felicia said, yes, the #1 dating. So that's right. That's what my mentor
Yes, snap.
Own that. You own it. I'm like, I will. I absolutely will. All right, y'all. So this has been the longest Friday Live, but it's been one of my favorites because I think the topic was so necessary, and I didn't want to cut it off. I didn't want to cut it short because I feel like this is a very, very important topic, very, very important discussion. Ladies, any last words on love and respect before we go? 10 seconds.
We're good. I'm good.
Love yourself. Make sure you love yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
love
good.
yourself
Yes,
because
thank
from
you,
that
Tanya.
you can love everything and everybody else. All right, y'all. Until next week when we have another episode, y'all take care. Love you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Ladies, stay put for just a moment. Bye, everybody.